Hello and welcome back to the Crictime Podcast. Another episode and ये वाला बड़ा special होने वाला है because obviously India Pakistan का discussion तो होना जरूरी है. And today I'm joined with another special guest as well, Udit from Twitter. He is a big Chelsea fan as well, so glad to have him on here. If you don't know, I'll put his just links in the description. Make sure to follow him. Great tweets, amazing tweets, and amazing analysis on cricket and Chelsea as well. If you're a Chelsea fan coming over from the other podcast we have. But Asia Cup and things have kicked off officially. The Super Four is about to begin, and the time we're recording this, it is 2 days before the India Pakistan on Sunday. So I'm predicting Pakistan to win against Hong Kong today. So this is right before the match. Udit, welcome to the podcast. Before we get into the details and discussions, how are you doing? How has it been? And how's life treating you so far?
Hey, Mohammed, glad to be here. So, actually, this is my first podcast ever. So, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Life has been pretty good. I've been traveling here and there, and now since I'm on my vacation these days. So, I've been tweeting mercilessly. I've I've been like the volume of my tweets have increased so far in the last few days, and especially it's Asia Cup. So, it's something to look forward to. And currently, I'm in Mumbai, and yeah, I'm hoping I'll go to the upcoming series of India Australia and the matches here.
Very, very
Yeah.
exciting news. And yeah, if you do go, it'll be quite an interesting watch as well, because I think it's right before the T20 World Cup, so both squads will try and try their hardest to get wins on the board and get the confidence up before they travel to Australia. But yeah, let's get into discussion. India Pakistan last week, obviously one of the biggest rivalries in cricket. Kohli, Babar Azam, Shaheen Shah Afridi and Bumrah, these rivalries, everything. Uh, but a lot of young talent coming in from Pakistan. I'll start with that. And in terms of the Pakistani bowlers, we know Dhani, who was playing on that day. It was his debut, and then as well as Naseem Shah's T20 debut, who's a regular Test player now after his performances for Pakistan. But your quick overall thoughts on the game and how India and Pakistan both handled the situation.
So, India Pakistan. When we talk about India Pakistan and the rivalry which we had from a long time, it kind of went onto a downward graph from 2010 to 2020. And after that, since from the T20 World Cup and that burger khate, pizza khate while a video came up, the whole graph of Pakistan cricket actually went up. And from
Yeah.
what you see now, you see fit Pakistani players, and that's what they showed in the T20 World Cup last year. And that's where we lost. They were very confident. And you see bowlers like Shaheen Afridi, Naseem Shah, and now Dhani, all of these bowlers are hungry. They are hungry for wickets. They have been performing well in both their home conditions and overseas conditions. And it's good for Pakistan that cricket is back there as well. Given that India is, I still think India is a better team overall on paper and when it comes to in terms of ability as well. But it's good to see that neighborhood clash coming back alive again, because we grew up watching India Pakistan bilateral series, both India touring Pakistan and Pakistan touring India, and it will be good to have something like that. Maybe not in both the countries due to the political tensions, but maybe on a neutral location. So it will be good to watch that. And it's good to see. I'm actually bored of seeing Indian batsmen face Hazelwood and Ben Stokes every year after year. It's good to see some fresh bowlers.
No, I completely agree with you on that. I think Pakistan played really well, and India played really well as well. And I think we got off to a pretty decent start, I guess. KL Rahul, obviously that wicket fell down, but
Yeah.
Kohli was in a good part. It looked like he was in a good knock with Rohit Sharma until we lost him as well. But commendable to Pakistani bowlers and the way they bowled. Obviously, India Pakistan, it's a match which is hyped up for months and months, and the pressure that's there and for both teams is incredible for the way the Pakistani bowlers bowled on that night. Naseem Shah, Dahani, Rauf as well to a point where handling the pressure even with cramps, they knew what they had to do. Obviously, end mein, thoda bahut, they veered off to the wrong end of bowling and got got hit for a few runs, but really impressed. But beginning to talk about Virat Kohli, I think on that night, not the best of innings, but again, 35 of 34, not a bad. We know he's used to scoring big scores against Pakistan, but it is looking positive, and we can even talk about the Hong Kong game, that half century, and it wasn't as fast as you would expect him to hit in a T20, you know. But I was watching this the Hong Kong match, and I remember this clearly. And Virat Kohli's on the other end; he's like on 48 of 39 for 38, and Sky comes in and he's suddenly 40 of 15 or 16, and Kohli is looking at himself like, यार ये क्या है, मैं मतलब पिछले 1 घंटे से मैं बैटिंग कर रहा हूँ और इसने 15 मिनट में आके गेम बदल दिया.
Exactly. So that's what you saw after the innings, that Kohli was pawing the Sky, and I saw a post-match interview as well where Kohli was pretty appreciative of Sky. Sky was amazing that game, and even when we talk about Virat Kohli, yeah, we from 2019 we are seeing a very inconsistent Virat Kohli. So when you talk about Kohli, you always talk about the centuries, and from the last 3 years we haven't seen any century till now, which actually hurts an Indian fan, because there were players before Kohli as well, and apart from Sachin, there is only Virat Kohli whose bad form you will remember, because he's that consistent of a player. There were only, from what I can remember, there were only two downtimes in his career. One was the 2014 England series, and one which is right now. So basically, for the last 3 years, and it was good to see against the Pakistan game. He was at the beginning. He was very calm and collected, especially after that first ball when what Naseem Shah bowled. I thought he was a goner.
He
But
was laughing, I think,
the way,
after that
yeah,
ball. He was like, yeah, I'm gone.
yes, exactly. And even the first 3 overs, India was struggling, and after that, when he kept his cool till the first 8 or 9 overs, it was good to see. And especially that pull he played, which was fantastic. And I loved actually watching him bat. I thought there were some shades coming in, but then he cheaply threw his wicket away after Rohit Sharma.
I
So it was
exactly this. I thought the same. I was watching the match and I was going, yeah, both Kohli and Rohit Sharma have cheaply thrown away their wickets.
exactly.
Virat Kohli, it almost seemed like he was trying to look for that fielder. He lobbed it to that fielder and very no pace on it, no nothing. Obviously, it was an off the pace ball by Pakistan.
Hmm.
I can't exactly remember the bowler's name, but it was a good ball, and suddenly he's got the
Nawab.
wicket of Virat Nawaz, yeah, and he
Yeah.
suddenly got the wicket that the biggest wicket of India, or the most dangerous wicket of India. So for me, I think he threw his wicket, but I think watching these two innings, and even with Hong Kong, watching Kohli against Hong Kong as well, I'm starting to realize that Virat Kohli might be the Indian batsman, or the batsman in the team who is responsible for just holding on until towards the end, where the finishers can come and score a quick 50 odd runs in the last 5 or 6 overs. He's no longer the Virat Kohli who can come in and start hitting for the first few overs. Maybe it's because of the lack of confidence, but from what I see and what I hear, I think his role in this team is more or less to just between 7 to 12 or 15 overs to just hold down the middle order, keep the runs ticking, keep the singles coming in, and a few boundaries here and there. Play at a strike rate of more than 100, but obviously don't go too harsh, because essentially we can talk about the middle order, which India is struggling with. And there's a lot of rotation. Not, I wouldn't say generally struggling, but in a sense, there's a lot of rotation because nothing's set. Surya Kumar's Sky's playing. Obviously, he's incredible the way he's been playing. But with KL Rahul struggling as an opener, there's changes with Pant coming in and out of the team. Dinesh Karthik getting a chance as well. Deepak Huda as well. He's in the squad as well. So India struggling with the middle order. What are your thoughts on the middle order and KL Rahul's form at the moment?
When it comes to middle order, I think India has got an influx of talent, and right now the problem which I see is that they don't know how to manage it. You see the likes of Shreyas Iyer. You see many people are coming from IPL as well. Shreyas Iyer right now, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, even Ishan can drop down to third or fourth. Deepak Huda. Rahul Tripathi was selected for the Zimbabwean tour as well, but he didn't play. Uh, so I think India has got a fair amount of talent, but they are still looking for that player who is playing consistently for a particular position. But I think Sky has cemented the number 4 spot right now, in
Yep.
both T20s and ODIs. But when it comes down to fifth, sixth, seventh, India is still struggling. I think DK will play a massive role in the World Cup, but I think post World Cup he will be off as well. I think his time has come to retire. He's 37. I don't think so. It's just my prediction that India won't be relying on him post that. And Rishabh Pant is in and out of the T20 team. He's a brick to the wall in the Test team. But for the T20s and one days, Rishabh Pant is still coming in and out. So
And tests
which
as
is
well,
why
I think Rishabh Pant for me.
Rishabh Pant, he had a couple of good series in Australia, in South Africa. He also scored 100, and then against England as well. We saw him playing really well. I don't think so. We have any other Test keeper. If we have KL, but given his form and his injury record as well as his illness record, I don't think so. KL Rahul right now will be the best choice for India. No doubt about his talent. He's a very talented player. We saw it in IPL. We saw it in many Indian games. But from the last 1.5 years, bar the South African series, I think he was good in the first test where he scored the 100 with Mayank. But apart from that, I don't think so. He has played any crucial innings for India. Or maybe it's just my perception on KL Rahul that he hasn't scored in any of the pressure games which India play. So basically, in all the big games, he hasn't been up to the mark.
I agree with you on that because yeah, KL Rahul, and I know I'm going very long time back and comparing it from 2019, but I think what I want to say is KL Rahul has never been a big game player. He's always been the guy when there's no pressure, he'll perform, and then when there's pressure, he suddenly collapse. And I don't know what it is with it's just a general maybe confidence issue, maybe the fact that he thinks yeah, it's in the back of his mind, yeah, if I don't play well this match, अगला match नहीं मिलने वाला या उसके बाद I'll get dropped. So it's maybe it's something to do with that, but in terms of him playing in under a huge amount of pressures, we've struggled. You know, New Zealand semi-final 2019 World Cup. I talk about that. T20 World Cup last year wasn't an amazing time for him either. And as you mentioned throughout the series is between these two T20 World Cups, we haven't seen much of KL Rahul in the shorter format. Maybe in the longer format, we've seen some glimpse of great innings, but overall, there hasn't been much to say, yeah, he's a set stone batsman that India need. And the reason I say that is because the amount of talent coming in terms of openers, Ishan Kishan is one that's been in the news for a while now, and someone who hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities in India, but he is someone who's played really well in the IPL and in the shorter format in recent times has got a better average or a better performance, has put in better performances than KL Rahul. So your quick thoughts on Ishan Kishan making this squad maybe for the World Cup and being used there?
Ishan Kishan is one of my favorite players right now. So the way he hits the ball, the way he times it, it's very good. It's just about his confidence at times. The Ireland tour wasn't perfect for him. He didn't get a chance to play in England, I think. And against Zimbabwe, he played a game. I think he played a game. But he couldn't score in that game. Yeah, he scored a 50. I'm so sorry about that. He scored a 50 with Shubman Gill scoring 100. So I think he should be given a chance over KL Rahul. I strongly believe that uh, my opening pair for the World Cup would be Ishan Kishan and Rohit Sharma. But from the things which we are seeing right now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it will be KL Rahul given we are going for KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma and hoping for KL's form to come back. But if Ishan gets the chance, I think Ishan can open, and India have been trying Rishabh Pant as well. So maybe that trust hasn't developed on Ishan right now from Rahul and VVS Lakshman. So if it comes to it, I'm all for it. All for Ishan Kishan to open for India along with Rohit Sharma. Because the things we always struggle with an opening pair for any team where where the pair has been set. So for a long time we saw Sehwag and Sachin, then we saw Sehwag and Gambhir. And then India struggled quite a bit for an opening pair when Gambhir and Sehwag were dropped out of the team. Then came Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan. That was a gamble which was played by MS in 2013. And then
That was a
Shikhar
big
and
gamble, by
Rohit.
the way, with going
Yeah,
with two unexperienced openers in the Champions Trophy. I
exactly.
remember.
It was and the way it turned out, I was actually surprised. I think the first game itself they scored a 100+ partnership against South
Yeah,
Africa, and after that, for a few years when they were like stonewalled into this Indian cricket team, where they were the opening partners till the World Cup, if I'm not wrong, and even right now
yeah.
against the England ODI series, they were the opening pair. It was good to see that, and KL Rahul was coming in and out from time to time. And since now both Shikhar and Rohit are getting older, India will have to look into further additions. India will have to look at backup, and that's where Ishan comes into play. And when we talk about an opening batsman, we can also talk about Shubman Gill. He has had pretty great West Indies and Zimbabwean tours. And to be fair, he also had a very good IPL this time around. So basically, the critique in the last episode was that Shubman Gill wasn't a T20 type of player. He likes to take his time. But this IPL, I think when he got out on 99 against, I'm forgetting the team which he played against, but that was a very classic innings from
Yeah.
Shubman Gill. And this 100 he scored against Zimbabwe and the scores he made against West Indies were pretty commendable. So Ishan Kishan, Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant, these players should be competing in the future for the Indian Open. Okay.
That's what I think as well. And for me, Shekhar Dhawan's name, which gets thrown out around a little bit as well in terms of opening, I think his time's up as an Indian
Yeah.
opener. It's time. One thing that I have seen, or I guess pre-Dhoni era used to be, doesn't matter if the player's in form, if players knows what he's doing, or he's good at facing pace in Australia or whatever situations are in terms of series. We would still play the player just because he's got an experience, or he's very experienced and he's played everywhere around the world kind of situation. And that's what I don't want India to go into again. If there's youngsters coming in, we're gonna have to make space for them. And I know I say that for Shekhar Dhawan, and it's a bit contradictory because you don't say that for Virat Kohli, but I think Virat Kohli is far ahead with in terms of what he can do with KL Rahul. No, okay, not KL Rahul, sorry, Shikhar Dhawan. And Virat Kohli is someone who India needs just mentally on the pitch. He's such a character on the pitch, especially in big tournaments. I know obviously he's trying to change. I don't know if it's him trying to change his persona, or someone who's come off as very aggressive on the pitch as a captain is now bowing down to players. He's Hasi was actually a player pitch me and meeting all the oppositions and all that. I don't know if it's just him, not having the pressure of being the captain, but Virat Kohli, just the presence of Virat Kohli in the Indian dressing room is important, and it's needed regardless of his form. And a lot of talk about whether he's going to be in that squad or not. For me, that's the first name that you put in after Rohit Sharma, and maybe the vice captain, Bumrah, along with him as well. So these guys are set in stone. You have to have them. There's not much of a discussion there. Just a bit about the Asia Cup as well. Talking about India, Pakistan. Bangladesh, they've lost to Sri Lanka last night when we were recording this, and Afghanistan. The surprise for me, I think, is the way they've played against Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, and look to maybe disappoint or maybe take away some points in the Super Fours from either India or Pakistan, depending on how they play against each team.
Yeah. When it comes to Afghanistan, you see that their bowlers, they have improved quite a lot. And Afghanistan, if we talk about Afghanistan, their
I will
spinners
add on.
are
I know I'm interrupting you. Sorry, but I think if I'm not wrong, Afghanistan have employed Umar Gul as their fast bowling coach,
yes,
which is
yes,
why their pacers. I mean, even though they've not been getting a lot of wickets this tournament, but they've not been giving away too many runs and putting on pressure.
exactly. And that really shows, as a matter of fact. You see the Sri Lankan game. I didn't see the Sri Lankan game live. I saw the highlights. Uh, their opening bowler, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name, but he was unplayable. He took 3 wickets, and Sri Lanka should have been out for less than 80 runs. They were lucky to get even above 100. And from what we know as well, Afghanistan, Mohammad Shehzad, from the Mohammad Shehzad's time, they like to open very fast. And that's what they did. And they just hammered Sri Lanka in that game. So Afghanistan's batting is pretty explosive in T20s. They have an explosive approach, which is fantastic for this format. and their bowling has improved a lot because before prior to this, when we spoke about Afghanistan, we only spoke about Rashid Khan uh, and uh, and a couple of more bowlers. But right now, from the things that I see, Afghanistan will be a very big trump card in the World Cup this time. So it's a team to look forward to. So that's about that. And for India, Pakistan, yeah, it will be a difficult, like it will be a difficult. Those games with Afghanistan will be very difficult for both of those teams. And given India's history with left-arm pacers, you don't know what will happen in that game. So fingers
And
crossed.
the reason I say that is because the left-handed all-rounder who saved us against Pakistan, or who came in and played an incredible innings, Ravinder Jadeja. The news coming in a few hours ago as we record this that he's injured and no longer part of the Indian squad due to a right knee injury, if I'm not wrong. And Akshar Patel's the one replacing him. So, I mean, obviously, I think Akshar Patel is also a left-hander, but like obviously not as experienced as Jadeja on the bat and on the ball as well. So that's going to be a big hit for India. And one conversation I was having with a lot of Pakistani fans was that, the only thing Pakistan's lacking right now is a few all-rounders. They need an all-rounder or two in their squad. Shoaib Malik used to be that person who would give them one or two overs of spin, and then he was a batter as well who could hit you off, hit the final few overs for a few runs. So with Pakistan, they've got a few advantages in terms of all rounders, and now India losing out on Jadeja is going to be something that's going to be big, and that's going to be That's going to be very surprising. But for me, I think with the way Afghanistan has come up in the tournament against Sri Lanka
Mm.
and Bangladesh, even though yes, they're a lot weaker than I guess India and Pakistan both, and but Afghanistan on the day, and it's about the way Afghanistan approached the game, which is a lot different to the Afghanistan of 2019 World Cup that we saw. So this is a very improved Afghanistan squad and a very passionate squad who is ready to win a game regardless of who the team is. We've seen that in press conferences. We've seen that in the comments made by Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi, and all of these players, these senior players in Afghanistan. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset there. Maybe India, Pakistan, one of these teams, if they lose, and then now you suddenly got a final between Afghanistan and maybe India, Pakistan, or if Hong Kong put an upset today against Pakistan, then that's going to be an even bigger one for us. But uh, you know, Asia Cup's about to finish next week. It's quite a short tournament, 13 matches, but the major one coming in October, end of October. Some teams have already started to announce their lineups for that. Australia did it, I think, yesterday or the day before yesterday, and then England
Yeah.
did it today as well. Also, their the tour of Pakistan squad, which was announced today as well. I'm just trying to pull it up because I had it up and then I closed it for some reason. But it was interesting to see with Australia's squad the way they have Tim David returning
Yeah.
into their squad. It's someone that I didn't expect on the list because he hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket, at least from what I've seen. Might have been playing in the local leagues in Australia, but from what I've seen, I haven't seen much of him.
So I think even I have seen even Tim David in the Big Bash from time to time, not much. But from what I read from the tweets and from the articles, that he is going to solve the Australian middle order problem as well. So right now, from what I see in this Australian squad, it's a complete squad, and I think these are the favorites for the World Cup. I think Australia will win this World Cup, and you see the amount of all rounders. Marcus Stoinis, Glenn Maxwell. So it's basically more or less the same team from last year.
Yeah.
And the thing about Australia is that they have kept up their form. They did lose a series to Sri Lanka, but that's because the team wasn't strong enough there. And I think they were subsequently playing another country as well at the time. So the team was split. And from what I see right now, the Australian squad is the perfect squad to win this World Cup. I would look forward to see the Indian squad as well, on how the selectors would go. The Pakistan squad, I haven't gotten a chance to see the Pakistani squad. And the English
I
squad is always the
Yeah,
new
I think
bowler.
I think Pakistan, India, I think none of the Asian teams have yet announced their squads because because obviously they're in the tournament, so they want to wait for it. And India
Hmm.
being India will want to maybe play a few games against Australia at home before they decide who to pick, and
Exactly.
take it to the last moment. Try and see if they can take it to the last moment of the World Cup. But I'm very excited, as you mentioned, Pakistan squad. I'm very excited to see them, and the reason I say that is because Shaheen Shah Afridi could be back for the World Cup, and then you've got someone like Naseem Shah who's going to be playing for Pakistan in the T20s, obviously. And then with Dahani and Haris Rauf and maybe Hassan Ali as well in that squad. In Australia, where the pitches favor the pace bowlers, I see as I if I'm being in if I'm being if from a neutral's perspective, I look at that and I go, yeah, India is gonna be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Shaheen Shah if Shaheen Shah can do what he did in Dubai, then imagine Australia where the pitch is made for the fast bowlers.
The real test for Pakistan's team would be their batting, not their bowling this time around,
Yeah.
because I know their bowling will pick up because very quickly. It will be one of the most difficult bowling attack to face. And Australia and Pakistan will be the lethal bowling attack which we will probably see in this World Cup. Indian, that's why as we had discussed earlier, that Indian top order needs to pick up now. They need to gain their form back. They need to gain their consistency back. You can't have the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul getting out cheaply. And even Sky. So Sky played a brilliant innings yesterday, but a couple of games in England, he got out quite cheaply as well before scoring that 100. So even they have to pick some consistency. They have to get used to the conditions. They have to read the bowlers, and I'm hopeful that when those lethal bowlers come around, they get hit all over the park by these batsmen of ours. Because when we talk about Indian batting attack, if you remember the 2011 World Cup,
Yeah.
Dale Steyn and Warner Mokal, they were regarded as the best bowlers in the World Cup. And I remember Sachin and Sehwag scored 150, 140 in 15 overs against them in an ODI match. So that was something pretty amazing. So Indian batting attack is never to be underestimated, but given the current situation right now, it's obviously it gives a pessimistic look, which can be a problem.
Yeah, I'm not writing off India and their chances in the World Cup. It's just that I guess I'm not showing that much of an excitement because last time around we saw what happened, the way we got knocked out right off the bat
Yes.
against Pakistan and New Zealand. So and the one thing that I don't understand, I don't know what the reason behind this is, and maybe this is because they want to understand the team rather than the pitch. England coming to Pakistan to play 7 T20s, and then Australia coming to India to play T20s, and South Africa doing the same thing as well. Because the subcontinent pitches are very different to what Australia offer, maybe England offer. So for them to come there, play 7 or 8 T20s, just for me, I'm trying to understand what they are trying to achieve out of it. Obviously, yes, confidence is going to be big if they win in these countries, but at the end, these are spin pitches where not a lot of fast attack works. So for me, I'm still gathering, like I'm still trying to figure out why are there almost 15 matches scheduled in a subcontinent, whereas maybe teams would rather play in Australia, maybe would rather play in Australia warm-up games because rather understand the conditions, but it could be because they want to face India and practice against them and the bowlers and go from there. So I'm not going to write it off as well. But Sky, you mentioned his form. But he has been an incredible touch, and he should be one of the names in that World Cup list, and should be on the team plane going, for sure. Would you not think so?
No, that's definitely Sky is definitely the number 4 for me right now in this Indian squad. Be it ODIs or T20s, he's the first name. Virat Kohli, yeah, Virat Kohli is also there for the World Cup. Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and Sky. Jasprit Bumrah, I hope he regains his form back. And the other opener is something which I'm concerned right now. And from 5, 6, 7 down the line, I think Rishabh Pant will definitely be in this since he knows the Australian conditions. Hardik Pandya, if he's injury free, and if Ravindra Jadeja gains his form back. I think from number 2 to number 7, we are pretty much sorted for the World Cup. Dinesh Karthik will be on the bench, maybe joining in a couple of games in the middle. Then down the bowling line, I see only one spinner, apart from Ravindra Jadeja, of course. That will be Yuzi Chahal. And the bowlers, Jasprit Bumrah, Harshal Patel, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, of course.
One
So
one discussion I want to have just before we end it and talk a little bit about India Pakistan coming up, obviously as well. Mohammad Siraj, would you take him into that squad? Because Australia, obviously, it was a Test match, red ball cricket, very different conditions,
mm,
but he played incredibly well those few Test matches that he got. But would you have him in this squad and say, yeah, he could be the X factor, maybe because we haven't no team has seen him ball a lot in T20s. They don't know what his style is and how he works. So would you have someone like Siraj in that team?
he could be an X factor, but given the opportunities he has been getting against big teams, so from what I see, if Mohammad Siraj could have been selected with in this Asia Cup, which I think he should have, uh, then the T20 World Cup would have been a clear pathway for him. I think he's a brilliant bowler, regardless of what happened in IPL. He's a brilliant bowler. He has played in Australia in recent times, but given the confidence right now which India have on Jasprit Bumrah, Harshal Patel, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, because Bhuvnesh, when we talk about Bhuvneshwar Kumar, India have been pretty consistent in picking him from time to time. He has been our go-to T20 bowler from a long time right now. When we talk about the Sri Lankan tour, which happened last year, then from the Sri Lanka tour, I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar. This is just my hunch that Bhuvneshwar Kumar has started every game. I might be wrong on that. Every T20 game, and he is irreplaceable right now from what I see. And Jasprit Bumrah being the vice captain, and the third one being Harshal Patel because he has been incredible in T20s. He comes in after that 10 over mark and bowls a pretty good bowling spell from that middle line to the death overs. So I think India will go with these three places. But Mohammad Siraj is, of course, a very good shot. As I said, India has an influx of talent right now. No
Yep.
one knows. The Indian future is pretty good. It's just our consistency right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right in that, it's just we're not consistent. And I think come the World Cup, we will have to be if we want to compete and win. And honestly, I'm not ready for another, a big tournament in India to get knocked out early or even in the semifinals yet. We need to be in the finals at least. I want to see a fighting Indian team in the finals because yeah, whenever I think of a team that wins the World Cup or the T20 World Cup, I think of a team which is battered, which has put sweat, blood, tears, injuries, players, everything onto it. And we saw that, Australia Test Series, where India team literally put everything on the pitch. Injury के साथ भी लोग खेल रहे थे, physios working day and night trying getting players ready for the game. And that's what winning teams do. In general, we haven't seen that from India. Remember that World Cup 2011 squad? I know some बहुत से legends were Yuvraj Singh, the way he played with the conditions he was in. Dhoni out of form, final perform karna under pressure. Sachin, obviously one of the greatest cricket players. So if we talk about some of the great teams winning, and even that 2013, you need players to put everything on the pitch. It's now or never wala situation, especially for players like KL Rahul, just keep position. Obviously, team mein nahi hai. Kohli, who's coming towards the end of his career, maybe short format, there is a chance. Yeah, BCCI go right. Kohli, we might give someone else a chance. And then obviously, this is a good preparation for the 2023 World Cup as well coming. Obviously, that's in India, if I'm not wrong. At least for now, it's scheduled in India. So you never know how things change. So it is a very good chance for these players to come up and play or move out. Because I was talking to Crick Jones last week and Johns last week, and he was saying, this is key for Rohit Sharma as well. Even though he's the captain, India might
Hmm.
look at a future captain who's a lot younger than Rohit Sharma, maybe Rishabh Pant. I don't see a lot of captaincy qualities in him, but there is talks. So for Rohit Sharma in a shorter format, that might be changing as well. Would you see Rohit Sharma's role for India short format changing if India struggle? Obviously, his record as a T20 captain is incredible, better than any Indian captain so far. But T20 World Cup, if a failure happens, does Rohit Sharma get scared, or does changes happen in that aspect?
No, I don't think so. I think Rohit Sharma will be the Indian captain till the 2023 World Cup.
Okay.
50 over format. I think after that they might blend him in and out. They might push him in and out as in because Rohit Sharma is also getting older now. He's going to get 38, I think, next year, and he will be going for his retirement as well. So when we talk about that, I think he will be only playing the major series, maybe the Sena countries, and then India will be testing out other captains. I think the next in line would be Jasprit Bumrah. India did lose the game against England if you see that test match, but Jasprit Bumrah's captaincy was very good in that
Yeah,
test.
but Usme, I'm
But
not gonna lie. I thought Kohli was being the captain on the pitch with the actions Kohli was doing and the way he was aggressive. मुझे जैसे लग रहा था यार ये तो Kohli's return as a captain for some reason.
no, it's always an animated Kohli against England. It's
Yeah.
always an animated Kohli against England and Australia, and even South Africa when I talk about that. So I think his form, as you said, I think as earlier you said that he has become quite humble. I think it's because of his form. When he gets his confidence back, I love the aggressive quote. He's on a different level. So he'll the mind games he'll play it always pressurizes the opponents, and that's what we love to see. That's how we have always seen him since 2015. So Bumrah was good when we talk about captaincy. Rishabh Pant, he was a good DC captain in IPL, but I still think he has a long way to go. When we talk about Indian captaincy, even I am as confused as BCCI right now. We don't know who will captain that. I think Hardik Pandya can be a good option if he keeps up his injury problems and on the side.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. It will be good.
Yeah, you're right in saying Kohli, the aggression of Kohli is something that everyone loves to see and everyone really does enjoy. And it does put us because whenever you say aggressive Kohli, you just think of those centuries or those celebrations after centuries or game wins of Kohli just, going all out.
Yeah.
In cricket, I guess cricket is a sport where you don't see a lot of players celebrate with the way people do in football, I guess, where you go up to the fans, you're cheering him up, throughout the game, you're trying your best. Cricket is a very gentleman sport. It's considered a very gentleman sport where you take a wicket, you maybe, clap once or twice or sare huddle mein aa gaye team, and you go back to playing. So, but Kohli's changed that. He's the one jumping around or slips me sledging. He's after every catch, he's running on the length of the pitch again. So that's the Kohli that we're used to. That's what I'm saying. When I see Kohli bowing down, no disrespect to Sky and his achievements and the way he played, but we're not used to seeing the side of Kohli. This is a side of Kohli that because he was quite young when he came into the Indian team. So he was very shy, I guess, in that time. Or फिर उसके बाद फौरन ही captain बन गए after Dhoni left. So we never saw this side. So now that we're seeing this side, it's a very different Kohli, and we're all happy that he's acting this way. But that aggressive Kohli is just someone else. And I'm pretty sure within the Asia Cup or the T20 World Cup, there is a century there for Kohli just waiting, and it'll be a mic drop moment. वही जो England में किया था. So it'll be one of those. For that. But quickly touching on India Pakistan coming up on Sunday. Even though I shouldn't be saying this, I kind of want Pakistan to win to level up the playing field, and then you'll have a final where it's all to play for 1-1 throughout this Asia Cup, and whoever wins the final wins it's a last man standing situation.
I think the finals won't be the last man standing situation. We are still facing each other in the T20 World Cup. That will be the real final, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm always up for India's win. I know this Indian team can pull off miracles when they are at their best. So I do get the gist because when we talk about sport, it's like always like let them win this game and then it levels the playing field. So it gives us more confidence that next match will be a revenge for us. But I think India has the ability to pull one off again. But given Ravindra Jadeja's injury, I'm now not that confident.
Same.
The role he plays, not only with the bat but on the field, he's amazing. Against Hong Kong,
I will.
Uh,
I want to point out this against Pakistan. The way I don't know whose decision it was. I want to find out this, and maybe this is some journalist who's watching the podcast. Maybe you want to ask this to the Indian team who decided to bring out Jadeja ahead of Pant and not Pant, Dinesh Karthik and Pandya against India against Pakistan, because I saw him pad up and walk to the pitch. I was like, yeah, what is happening? Why is Jadeja coming in? And suddenly I realized, oh, right hand, left hand combination. And this is why I think Pant's a
hmm.
key player in that squad. We don't have a lot of left handers. And now the Jadeja's out. Who's the left hander that we're looking for? And it's only Pant remaining. And then you don't want to have Dinesh Karthik and Pant both playing in a match, because that just means you've got an extra batsman, obviously, but then you've got less overs to play with. You've got 5 bowlers or 5 people who can bowl, and you're going to have to use each of them, which is not a position India want to be in when a bowler gets hit for runs to complete a spell, like Pakistan had to do with Nawaz, because they were short of all rounders and overs, and they had to bowl out every single bowler. But yeah, I know. Like honestly, I'm gonna watch this match. I know obviously I'm gonna have a bias towards India and the Indian players on Sunday. That's given, but obviously at the same time, I want to see some good cricket.
Hmm.
As you said, I guess India and Pakistan in the past, Pakistan used to dominate because of the bowlers they had. The highlights from what I watched, obviously me growing up in an era where I didn't see a lot of India Pakistan matches except the World Cups, and the big tournaments, but that match a week back was a great match to watch because it went down the wire. It was towards the last, and then Hardik Pandya, just the confidence he had, just that's when I laughed and I was like, you know what, this Indian team is just something else, and they can achieve a lot of things, as we've spoken about throughout this podcast. But yeah, thank you, Udit. Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for giving your time and your insights on this. A lot of cricket coming up in September for those of you watching. Asia Cup, obviously, the rest of the remaining of the Asia Cup. Australia playing Zimbabwe in the Test match. Australia playing New Zealand, I think ODIs. England, South Africa, the final Test. India, Australia, obviously Pakistan, England as well in September, and then India plays South Africa before we all head out to the big tournament in towards the end of October. And a few matches in the October, but when that comes around, we'll speak about that. Udit, once again, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah. Thank
And
you for having me. It was great to talk to you.
yeah, and looking forward to having you on again. And whenever you're free, drop me a message and we'll plan something again and have you on. But guys,
Absolutely.
make sure to follow Udit on his social media pages. I'll link it below. He's got some great insights and a lot of funny tweets, I must say. I do sit there sometimes when I'm scrolling and I see your tweet, I have a laugh. So it is worth your while to follow Udit on Twitter and on all of the social media pages. Other than that, make sure to follow our social media pages covering all the matches and giving you the insights of cricket as much as we can on a daily basis, and slowly expanding the team to try and curate content specifically for the people who want to actually engage with our content. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like rating, and we'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe.